I'm going to go over some tips and tricks here, and then we're going to look at how the alto clef ties into this. It's actually really simple. Okay, so the first trick I want to tell you is that if you have anything that is on your first line here, any note, since we're in the bass clef, what note is this? This is G. Okay, since this first line is G, the last space is also G. Okay, and if we think all cows eat grass, A, C, E, G. All cows eat grass. Look at that. G is the last note. G is the first line and the last space. This also works for the treble clef. So now we're reviewing things. Okay, so we see that first note, of course, is the E. That means that this last space is also going to be an E. Remember, I just told you we have the word face in the space. F-A-C-E. E is that last note in that last space. It's also the first note on the first line. That's a little trick. You get a little lost, you're thinking quickly, you're up here in that last space, think of that first line. Now the same trick goes in a similar way when you think about your first space. Your first space of any clef is going to be the same note as that last line. So let's look at the first space. We're thinking about cows eating grass. Remember, all cows eat grass. So we have an A. All cows eat grass. And that also means that this last line is going to be an A. Okay, we know that this is a note A. I could re-explain it all, but we see here's a different way to explain it to get you thinking a little differently. This is one note below the C. So if we're thinking what's below a C, okay, get some gears grinding, we could easily just think C, B, A. Just go back in the alphabet if you get stuck at all. Okay, we have an A, C. This is all just to show you, okay, you're on this last line, you're confused, you could think one below the C, that's a little too confusing. What's your first space? A. You have an A first space, A the last line. Alright, again, this works on the treble clef. Now this is just reviewing the notes at this point, but this is good. This is really to get this engraved in you. Okay, so the first space, what is that? Remember face in the space, we have an F. So now we know that F is this first space, it's also the last line. And again, to explain this a different way, we see we have an A up here, which is one line above the treble clef. We go down, we have an F. F, G, A. It's all in the alphabet. Okay, another trick is to memorize your middle line. Okay, you want to see the middle line of the treble clef, you instantly want to know B. Okay, this is very helpful because this is a marker. Just like we have the marker of the first line, we can correlate that to the last space now. And we also have the first space memorized. We can also correlate this to the last line. We have all these little markers memorized. So from here we can think of what notes are above and below it, but these markers are on the bottom and the top of the staff. So the next marker, like I'm saying, is the middle, the very middle line. You want to know, here's a B. Instantly look at a treble clef, see the middle line, know that's a B. Okay? The same thing with a bass clef. You got to know the middle line of your bass clef. Okay? That's going to be a D. Remember, it's a third above the notes that are in a treble clef. This might come in handy in the beginning if you already know your treble clef. You see a B if this is a treble clef, so you know it's a D, a third above that, if you're hearing a bass clef. This will actually help you understand this next thing. So this next part here, I'm just going to put an alto clef in the middle of these two, and just realize that with an alto clef, where you see the middle is going to be your middle line, and it's also going to be the note middle C. And the reason why I'm showing it like this is just so you can see where it is in the register. When you're thinking about an alto clef, it literally has middle C as that middle line. So here you can understand where the alto clef sound is actually coming from, where it lies on the lowest to the highest notes known as the register, where it fits in between that, where its spacing is in between those notes. Okay, now just a little bonus at the end of the video, how to read your alto clef and your tenor clef. This is going to tie in everything else that I taught you.